my work office. Great to have you guys here. It's been a busy week. Now I for sure sound like John Oliver. It's been a busy week. Do you listen to John Oliver? Last week tonight?
No,
You don't? No, last week tonight?
I heard of him.
Okay, he's pretty good. Um,
Yeah,
do you see a top left corner of your screen live? Is that always there?
top left. Yeah, recording. It says. I
Okay,
don't know.
okay, and you see that all the time when you're on here? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so busy times, exciting times. You had a race this weekend, and you've been training. I'll say putting in some heavier at times for someone who just ran the Boston Marathon last week. No, wait, is it
Mm-hmm.
still last week? Yeah, it was
Two
last week.
weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Ago now.
2 weeks ago. Well, can we still say that we ran the Boston Marathon? I this month. You can still say this month.
Yeah, this month.
And then in a week, it's
Earlier
going to be
this
like
month.
last month. Last month I ran. We got a whole month of last month.
And then this year after.
Well, yeah, I think this spring. Could say this spring, this
Yeah.
year, and then next year will be last year.
Yeah.
We got a nice runway
Well,
here.
we're gonna milk it for a while still. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I went to Big Sky, and she
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Oh, these pants are fantastic for chafing or whatever. You should really." It's a running store on Provencher Avenue, which I like. Or sorry, it's on Taché, like a
Tashi, yeah.
locally owned store. And I did the old. It's gonna sound like I'm just dropping the fact that I did the Boston Marathon here, but when I did the Boston Marathon last week, the pants I was wearing, I had a whole bunch of gels in them. Did this happen to you? And it like just ripped up the side of my legs.
I actually had a big scar
Yeah.
right in on my left. I guess I put one of the gels was just kind of rubbing against like the you know how the end
Yeah.
is like a hard tab was
Yeah.
just kind of rubbing against, and it was like it only now has healed.
Yeah. I had it on both
It's
sides.
the only chafing I had though
Yeah. No chafing
for
anywhere
when
else,
I
but
for when I ran the Boston Marathon. Yeah.
on this side. And she was selling these shorts. It was a brand of shorts that had like a belt, and you could put inside the shorts like a seamed belt, and the whole thing you could jam gels in all the way around, like a 1 inch, 2 inch, like
Yeah.
the whole way around is you just the pockets. You could just jam stuff in there. I thought it was kind of neat. Um, all right, so you've been doing a lot of miles. Actually, I saw you biking, you're swimming, it honestly it makes me feel like shit, I gotta get my ass in gear here. But I mean, I know that I'll be doing a lot of miles coming up, but you've not lost a step here. You've just kept going.
Well, based on our hockey game last night, you're in way better shape than me, I would say.
Why would you say that?
Oh man, you were just flying out there. Yeah. So you look good.
I
I
think
was
I
like,
just care.
when did he get way better than me? I guess
I
got
disagree.
older or something.
No, I
Anyways,
disagree.
you played well, yeah.
I think we've always you also played well, and like I don't want to pump your tires, but I think we've always had different skills at hockey. Now we just have
Yeah.
both have cardio. So you've always been strong vision, good puck moving defenseman, first pass out of the zone, know how to play the gap. You've always been like the most valuable guy on your team defensively. And I was a forward,
Yeah.
you were a D. So like I had a little bit of ability to score, not much, but a little bit. And
I
yesterday it was
think
a
what you're trying to say is I have no scoring ability. Thanks.
no.
It's all right.
What I'm trying to say is my skills translate better to rec hockey at a slower pace than yours do.
Yeah.
Is that
No,
fair?
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And, yeah.
That's a ton of fun. That group, that fun hockey.
Yeah.
It's a little bit slower pace than the Curé, but it's man, it's fun. It was a good group of guys. We ended up laughing. I never get great sleeps after hockey. I don't know about you. It's like
Yeah, no, I've been not feeling great actually. I think I'm in that hangover part. I was like kind of on cloud nine for a week, and now I'm a little bit on the hangover. And
sorry,
like
Chad.
I probably gained like 15 pounds. I don't know how much I gained, but I feel like I gained lots. And my number, you call it the Charlie number, my Charlie
The
number is
Charlie.
way up.
Yeah, but okay.
Uh,
You know that your Charlie numbers takes a month to come back. You're the one who told me this. It takes a
Yeah,
month to come back.
it always goes up. But the thing is that like the week after, it was like kind of still close.
It
And
hadn't
then,
hit the hangover yet.
yeah, now it's going way up. Yeah.
For those that don't know, the Charlie number is a metric that Charlie created that we've talked about on this podcast before, which basically measures the additional heartbeats above resting that it takes a runner to do a mile. So if your resting heart rate's 50 and you could do a 10-minute mile at 150, it's 100 extra beats for 10 minutes. So that would be 1,000. And
Yeah.
Charlie, you had your Charlie number down to like the low 600s, I would imagine, or 650 or something.
Just I was pretty consistently just under 700 right before
Okay.
Boston, and now I'm hitting 800s sometimes.
Okay.
Like it's yeah.
So when my two best jogs there that I did with you, well, the one
Yeah.
really, really good jog I did with you, I was like 610.
Yeah. Because you always have a lower heart rate than me.
So anyways, the reason the Charlie number works is it's a great metric to compare yourself against your own jogs. And then you're saying your Charlie number is a bit high. I want to talk about this because I think mental health is a theme that comes up in running. It's come up a few times. Like, remember Nicolas Audet talked about how he was struggling, and there's other runners that have mentioned to me that they struggle. They go through either the two things that I hear most runners struggle with. One is like when they're building and they think they can't get there, it's too hard. Like the workouts are too hard. It's so hard to do a build. And then the other one is the post-race blues, which you are currently experiencing.
No, I wouldn't say. I mean, it's very minor though. I would say it's very, very minor. Like I'm still getting all my workouts in, which I feel like is the key, right? So my workouts, I'm still getting all my workouts in. I'm just like not sleeping as well, and I'm like overeating.
And then you end up feeling bad because you overate.
Well, it's not helping my workout performance, But yeah.
And you're so disciplined for like 4 months. You didn't you're just zoned in, and then it's like.
Yeah, Bryce told me this story about this magician who I don't know the exact, it's from a book. I should really get the title of the book, but apparently he worked for 6 months to perform this trick, and he had to lose weight, get in really good shape, and get really strong. And then he finally did his trick, and he gained 30 pounds within 2 weeks or something after, because he had been so focused on achieving that one goal. I feel like sometimes running a marathon is like a one trick, it's you kind of put everything into it, and it's like you're trying to be your best for that day, and then that day comes, and move on to the next one, I guess. I don't know.
It is a crazy culmination of everything: health, sleep, diet, nutrition. You're doing that build, you're trying to get to the peak optimal shape for the perfect time, and you're sleeping and you're working in that week. It's nutrition and it's sleep, and then it's over.
And you kind of have to have the stars align for everything to work out great, but it just it's
smokes.
So it's good, but at the same time there's a bit of that letdown. So
I realized that, and I think I may have mentioned this in the last podcast, how hard it is to Tyler Mislachuk there, the Olympian that we interviewed, and he was so he described his I guess his pain, or his when he was ranked number one, he's winning all these races, and then he goes out there that one day and he tweaked his Achilles and he doesn't finish. And I was thinking, man, on a very small, that's how I felt a little bit. And it's hard to make it up. We're lucky to have it all lined up for our races the way we have.
Well, and our buddy, another really good hockey player, Colin Lafreniere, he missed Boston by 5 seconds. I don't know, maybe it was 10. I'm not sure, but it was very, very close. Less than a minute. Anyways, he missed it by. And we were messaging a bit on Strava, and he's like, "Oh, I think I might be able to PR if the stars align." Because he's right. It's you kind of need to get a bit lucky too, right? So I think that's one of the things that you can take away is don't put too much pressure on yourself, because if you have a goal or anything, because I think sometimes you just have to realize that you put in the preparation, but there's some luck involved, and you just do the best that you can do, and it either happens or it doesn't. But the only thing that you can do is control like your effort, right? So,
and you end up beating yourself up. Like I had a rough time because I was so hard on myself about what was happening in my training, and it didn't line up for me. This Boston Marathon, it didn't line up for me.
yeah,
But this
exactly. Yeah.
buildup of energy and effort and talking about it, and planning your mornings and your evenings so that you pick up the kids and you can go do this race or this whatever, and your whole life revolves around this training for this one goal. And then when it falls apart, naturally, even though we tell each other, you would tell me, Rob, it's not your fault. Like you got sick, no big deal. But you can't. Inside, naturally, you want to blame yourself. And it for it to happen, just you need to start line. And I feel bad for Colin. Like that guy. Remember, he came over to run with Rob the party last year, and he was like, I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I feel bad for you. He's like, why? I was like, well, you came so close. He's like, Rob, that was the absolute best time I could have done that day. And I'm very proud of myself. And so he was not like missing out on the 7 seconds or whatever. He's like, I couldn't have done better. So if that's what it took, I wasn't there. I wasn't able to do it.
Yeah.
Focus on what I can control. And that's more training and get better.
Yeah.
And you're going through, I'm also putting on weight, but I'm doing it for a race that's coming up. So I'm
yeah. So, yeah. What are you doing? What's your race?
I'm running across New Brunswick. But I want to start before that. I want to talk about your race that you did this weekend, and then I want to talk about my race that I did this weekend. You ran a 5K this weekend. Tell me about it.
I don't know why I ran it, but
so I know why you ran it. You run so many races, and you say you don't enjoy the race, but I know you enjoy the race because you're always signing up for these obscure 5Ks and 10Ks wherever, and you do way more races than me.
Yeah. So I had a 2-hour 20-minute bike ride. I think I did like 75K.
Ho hum, no big deal.
And then I went to my race. So, because I had signed up for the race and I didn't know what my workouts were going to be, because all these workouts are brand new, right? So I didn't know. So I'd already signed up for the race. So I decided, I'll do my bike race, and I should be able to do sub 20, even though I just ran 70K and I'm a little bit tired from it was Boston Marathon. But you know what? Turns out doing sub 20 is pretty hard.
It is, yeah.
So anyway, so I just missed it. I did like a 20:07 or something. But the funniest part was it made me feel really old, because I was coming down. I thought I was in third place at the time, and about 800 meters left, there's this kid. I look back and there's this kid, 16, 17 years old. I don't know, really young kid. And he's coming up on me. He's catching up to me. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I better push it here. So all of a sudden I had more energy to push. So I went maybe 20 to 30 minutes per mile faster, up until about 70 meters left, 200 feet left. I see the finish line, and I said, okay, now is the time to go for my sprint. And I start my sprint as hard as I can. And like 2 seconds later, I see this kid just goes by me like he's not even moving. I'm not even moving. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's what happens when you're old. Like, you're probably a little bit faster when you're younger. But yeah, anyways, he just blew by me, made me feel really old. But it was okay. I finished 4th or 5th. It said 5th on the website, but I did not see 4 people in front of me. So I think maybe someone either started after me or something. But anyways, it was fun.
What was it? Riley Jorgensen, maybe?
That passed me?
Yeah, the kid from Verdun that I ran with last year that did a 1:28 half marathon without even, he'd never.
No, I think he would have finished a 5K in like 17 minutes.
Riley, that guy was unbelievable. I don't know if he's listening to the podcast. I should send him an episode, but I hope he's doing well. I hope he's running. I'm sure he's running, because he loves running.
Yeah.
The greatest clip from my run with Rob is like, why do you run? And he's just like standing there. He's like, I enjoy running. I just like running. And I was like, that's awesome. Sorry.
I was gonna say that was my race. You had a much better race, I heard this week.
Well, the problem with my race is I told every single human being on the planet, everyone that I could talk to or would listen to me, I told them about this race, and it's part of why I do it is to load up pressure on myself to try to perform better. I tell everyone about stuff. Curly and I, my dog Curly and I, who's right here on the couch, which you can't see, did a 10K, the Fast and Free 10K at Assiniboine Park, and we talked about it in the last episode, and it was like, for me, I wanted it for him. I wanted him to win. I didn't know what time I'd be able to do, but I went out during the week and I did a 48-minute 10K, but I pushed a little bit and he like followed. He was like, well, why are we going so fast? What's going on? And then we went race day. We went out in the morning. I picked up my bib. There was 1,000 dogs. There's millions and millions of dogs. They're all over. There's 400 dogs in this race. And some are biting and yipping and eating other dogs. And it was just like a craziness. And I just wanted to get my bib. And he's like shaking. He's like freaking out because doesn't have that much dog experience. And this is where someone's going to go, oh, you need to bring him to a dog park. You need to socialize your dog. Anyways, so we socialize him quite a bit, but he's still fearful and protective of me. Anyways, got the bib. And then I'm like, we have 20 minutes left. I was like, it was cold. It was like 2 degrees. So I went back to the car and I hung out in the car for 20 minutes. And then I just came out for the start of the race. So like I came out like a minute before the race and I went right to the front. I kind of cut in front of everyone. I went right to the front, ready, set, go. And I dashed out and I did exactly what I said I would. I dashed out at like a 3:50 or 4-minute pace, like 6-minute miles. I wanted to be in first place. The reason, and I wanted him to have no other dogs, no stress. And he did well. He's like, holy, why are we going so fast? And he's like jogging. And then I want to tell this thing. I came onto a dog, Charlie, this husky. I'd never seen a dog jog like this. This guy next to me passed me kind of after I slowed down that first stretch. And then he kind of came right up to me, next to me. And I was like, oh, this guy's passing me. I'm going to follow with him. So I kind of jogged next to him for a bit. And he's like doing 7-minute miles. And I had slowed down a bit. And he looked like he was jogging pretty effortlessly. But the dog, this huge husky, gorgeous husky. We had a husky, Jesse, when we were younger, Charlie and I. Were you there? We had Jesse?
Yeah, but I think she was a cross between a husky and a Labrador or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, our little dog, our dog Jesse. I remember Jesse had energy, but this dog was trotting like a horse, just like barely moving his legs. He was like 6 feet ahead. He had a full harness, like one of these pulling harnesses. And the guy was just kind of jogging, kind of being pulled by this dog. And this dog was just kind of slowly trotting and just minding his own business. I was like, oh my God, like that's a jogging dog. Like Curly did great and I'm very proud of him, but like that's a jogging dog, right? Like barely moving. And anyways, Curly killed it. So now it's a 2-loop race. The longest description you've ever had for a 10K fast and free race in your life. But we did the first loop and then we're into the second loop. And now we're passing all these dogs, right? Because it's a 2K loop. And then he freaked out. He didn't like it. He wanted to he was like kind of going behind me and he was scared. And so we slowed down quite a bit, kilometers 7, 8. And every time we pass a group, I was like, oh, he's out of shape. He can't do this. It's too hard for him. But then as soon as we pass a group, he would go ahead of me and he was like looking back, waiting for me. So it wasn't that he didn't have the speed. It was that he was uncomfortable with the dogs. So anyways, one 10K loop would have been way better for him. I think we would have done like 41, something like 40 or 41, but we ended up slowing down K 7, 8, 9. And we did an extra. So we averaged exactly 42 minutes. We did some extra mileage there because we were the first ones and we did an extra loop, but 42 minutes for a 10K. Very, very happy. We won first place. Winner, chicken dinner. I'm in first place for a race for the first time in my life.
Congrats.
Yeah.
And
it was such a big accomplishment that they didn't even have a podium or announce the winners or anything. I was like, what happens to the winners? She's like, what are you talking about? Winners?
Where's my trophy?
It's a fun race. She's like, it's just a fun race. We don't have. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I knew that. I
Yeah,
like asking for a friend who did the race. No trophy, but Curly had a lot of
But
stuff.
wait, you forgot the story at the beginning when you asked about the course, how to find it,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. I
and
get to
what was
the
the response?
what's that?
So okay, so I'll tell the story as if I'm you. So you get to the race and you ask for directions for like,
Yeah,
what do I need to do about this course? And someone and they tell you you're not going to get lost. Impossible to get lost. Just follow people. And I was like,
yeah.
and then you were like, in your head you're thinking, I ain't following no one.
I ain't
I'm not
following it.
planning
No,
on following anyone.
no. I want to be at the front, so I took a photo of the map, and I'm not super
Yeah.
familiar with the Assiniboine Park. I don't know if you are, but like I'm.
Well, so I've done 2 or 3 races now, and it's been the exact same 5K loop.
Okay, so it's probably the
So,
same 5K loop I did.
well, it goes around to the back, and then a little bit of a gravel. There's like gravel patches because there's,
Yep.
and then you turn around like a full turnaround in 180 degree. And then you come back and you got to turn right and do a different loop, and then just get back. But I saw your run on Strava. It didn't look like
Not the
that's
same.
the loop you guys did. So
Okay. Okay. Well, oh yeah. I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, how am I gonna make sure I don't get lost? He's like, you're not gonna get lost. Dude. Follow people. And they said, plus there's like 20 marshals out there, and they're all heading out to their spots. They'll be fine. When we came around the first loop, we were supposed to cut across and not go to the finish line. But I didn't know. I'm screaming, hey, where do I go? Where do I go? And the woman's like, she's just pointing. And obviously I went the wrong way. So I ended up doing an extra 400 meters, which is okay. It's okay, but it makes the time worse. But anyways, I went the wrong way and there was no one there yet. She was grabbing her coffee and she's kind of running to the start line. But it was very, very fun. Curly won. Curly was a good dog. And Curly got a lot of treats and he got whatever he wanted. And he was the happiest. After he was finished, he was like, just sat on my lap and was like, did I do okay kind of thing? I was like, oh, buddy, you killed it. And it was one of the most fun races I've done just because it was for him, even though he doesn't even know he won a race. And maybe, do you think he knows? He knows he's doing well.
yeah, probably thinks he knows.
Gets a lot of affirmation from his owner. A lot of affirmation. Anyways,
He can tell by your body language, probably.
yeah, no, he's so good at reading my body language. He was just like, kept looking at me like, am I doing okay? Is this what you want me to do? Like, yeah, you're doing so good. Yeah. Okay. Like literally would probably die on the track before stopping because he would want to please me, right? Like this is the kind of my dog anyways, and I'm sure all dogs are like this. I sound like one of those dog guys now. I never thought I'd be a dog guy, but I'm a dog guy. What do you think of the last episode we recorded? For those of you that haven't checked it out, Louis Cormier, it's going to be released actually today, but if you're watching this, it's already been released. We interviewed Louis Cormier, who's the author of From Addiction to Fitness. The guy ran 4 triathlons, bunch of marathons, qualified for Boston, ran Boston Marathon this year, hiked the Appalachian Trail, did it in 140 days or something, and just an all-around inspiring dude. And like perspective. Oh my God. I listened to, sorry. What did you think of the podcast?
Yeah, it was great. Really enjoyed talking to him. Hope you go see him and have dinner at his place.
Yeah, he was texting me today. He's like, how many people? What time are you guys gonna be there? What do you like to eat? He's texting me today. So he invited us, my entire crew, there's 8 of us, to go eat at his place after leg 25, which is the second last leg of Run with Rob. We're running the second last leg. I'm running with him, and he told me he's training now for a half marathon because I'm like pretty sure you don't have to train for.
You just ran Boston.
Yeah. So I'm excited to do that. I actually listened to it. So it's the podcast isn't up yet, but I listened to it last night, and I was a little worried because I was like way more vulnerable than I've ever been on that. Like the most I've ever talked about my past and the most you've ever talked about your past for sure. And I was like, oh, did I kind of say too much or did I? But no, it was actually great. And what I loved is like the stuff that he says, I wrote it down. He's just like, he's so inspiring in a simple way. Like he's not like, bah, bah, bah. He's just like, hey, if everyone else can do it, I'll do it. I wrote 3 or 4 of these kind of really good quotes down that he would say. And, I knew I would be able to finish an Ironman because I'd quit drinking, and that was the hardest thing I'd ever done. And like just these kind of simple quotes that he would say, and I just wrote them down. I thought he was, I thought he was inspiring. So if you haven't listened,
sure.
if you haven't listened to that episode, take a listen to it. It's a great episode, I think. Biased opinion, obviously. Now, I got a couple of things I want to chat about with you today, Charlie. I got this run with Rob coming, so now you're gonna have to like be the host, and you're gonna have to like ask me questions. And are you okay?
Yeah, sounds good. So what, every night you want me to go ask
No.
you what time?
I'm saying now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you got Run with Rob coming. You pretty pumped? What are your biggest fears? No, okay. Let's start with. Are you pretty
Charlie's
pumped?
making fun of me.
Are you pretty pumped?
Yeah.
Because you know what I remember from last year is you. It was probably an experience that I think you enjoyed more than any other thing you've ever done. Like, I mean, I don't know, there's family things, but in terms of running, I think it was likely the experience that you cherished most from last year. So I'm guessing you're pretty excited this year.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it, Charlie. Yeah, obviously, like your kids' births and your whatever, those are the most special days in your life. But like, I put this ahead of like, it was the coolest 12 days of my life where I got to run with, people are sick of hearing this, but I'm going to say it anyways, because it's our podcast and this is what we do. It was so cool to like inspire other people. It was fun to drag them along. It was fun to chat and meet people and talk about their motivations, inspirations. It was fun to get pulled along. Like I went through my notes, and I remember Trav, that leg in Portage. I had a hard time. That was a very tough day for me. And Trav talked me through it the whole way, because I was like not in a good frame of mind. I didn't know if I would finish. That's kind of the only time I had doubt. And he like talked the whole way through, and he did a slow race for me because he knew I was struggling. And, I ran with Claude. Claude like surprised me and did a half marathon, and like thought he was going to die that day, but he didn't.
So sub 3?
Sub 3. Yeah, just like you in Boston, or almost you in Boston, sub 3. I ran with Justin, which was fun. Tanya.
So I remember the first time I saw you there, and Phil Mark, who did the back-to-back halves, he was in rough shape. Anyways, keep going. So just him finishing was amazing.
Phil did those 2 legs that first day, which was really inspiring. Second day is really inspiring, and then there's just nonstop story, and each of those stories are very special and precious to me. And the overall experience, especially, I'll say the last 5-6 days, because then I was just coasting. I knew the bill was going to pass. I knew nothing was stopping me, and I was just really, in your words, I was being in the moment, and I was really just taking it all in. It was the happiest I've ever been. I wasn't snappy at all. Sometimes you get snappy with your kids or your wife or your friends or whatever. There was zero snappy. I was just like smiling the whole time, just happy to be alive. I loved the meals. I love that our TikTok account was like kind of going viral. I loved everything about that first experience. So to put a long preamble answer to your question, I'm pumped. And I kind of feel a little bit like, it kind of like if I go to the Masters again, would it be as good as the first time I went and I saw Tiger Woods win in 2011? Probably not, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay if it's not a million on 100, but even if it's like a 500,000 on 100, that's going to be a pretty intense experience. And there's so many more unknowns here. It's very, very different. I'm not running with 163 people. I'm actually having a hard time filling my legs. So it's filled up a little bit over the last week, and I'm running with people most of the days, but there's still a lot of empty legs. And then there's the elevation, which I'm a little worried about. It is, Marco calculated for me, I believe it's 10 times the elevation of Manitoba, the elevation gain.
So 0 times 10 is...
Yeah, it's 0 times 10 is still not much.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. You'll be able to
I'm excited.
it, I think. But
I think
I guess so. So I think one of the things you did enjoy a lot last year was the fact that you were able to run with kind of some friends that you've known over time, and so this will be a little bit different, but I think you'll be able to meet new people. I think that'll be really interesting. Any changes in, like, any things that you've learned from last year that you're going to apply to kind of make this a little bit smoother?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to prioritize a little bit more sleep and recovery, and I'm going to track and focus a little bit more on diet now that I know the impacts of diet a little bit more. Last year, I was kind of just winging it. I don't want to say I'm going to track, but I definitely, and I'm going to force, so sleep and recovery is one thing. So I'm going to force myself to take naps between if I can, and go to bed earlier. What I didn't want to do last year, we were having so much fun in the RV or in the Airbnbs that I want, me, I don't leave a social till it's 2 a.m. And I do that
We
sober
were the last
now.
two at hockey last night, remember?
Yeah. Last two to leave the room last night. And I guarantee you, tell me if I'm wrong, on the way in last night, you got your bag, you're going in, you're like, I am running out of this dressing room and I'm going to go to bed early tonight. I'm not staying late. I have a lot of things to do.
That was the plan. Yeah.
Yeah. And yet you start chatting, next thing you know, it's like 1 a.m. or whatever, 12:30, and you're going home. So I enjoyed that. And that's probably a negative for me, because especially the last days at Falcon Lake there, where we had a big crew and the guys were hanging out and having a real good time and kind of celebrating the end of the event. I wanted to stay up with them, but I knew I needed my sleep. So, okay, sleep, one thing. And then nutrition. So and then the other one is timing of the legs. So I'm doing that a little differently this year. I'm still doing 8 a.m., 4 p.m. But if I don't have someone signed up for the leg, or if it's one of my buddies and there's only one person, I'm going to ask him or her if they want to just do it right after, like at 11, 10:30 or 11. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? And I don't know. I know you've not done all of them, but I feel like it's going to be easier to get it out of the way and then recover, a little longer to recover.
Gives you more time to recover after.
Because I always found, one thing I found last year was like the day just ends up zooming by you, and you next thing you know, it's 4, 6, and then you're eating, and then it's bedtime, and you like the 4 o'clock comes up way too quick, and you don't have enough time to recover there. So I might move it earlier. Plus, 4 o'clock is hot at 4 o'clock. I've been. Are you the one who told me? Yeah, you're the one who told me that. Like, how excited you are about a race based on how many times you're checking the weather in that city.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I've added Edmundston, I've added Perth Andover, I've added Woodstock, I've added Fredericton, Moncton, Amherst. I've added all those towns to my weather, and I just kind of checking all of the days what it's going to be. And it's early still to check the weather, but it's looking like it's going to be good, favorable running conditions, like cold-ish and not too hot. So I'm excited about that. So I'm excited. This is
well, last year you did it in June or May?
It was about 2 weeks later.
Mid-May?
Sorry, I started 1 week later. I started the 14th or something like that.
Okay.
Now I'm starting the 4th. So we kind of
your afternoons were a bit hot on some days. It was pretty warm.
They were. Yeah, we had that tough one with Les Curés that ended up being like 27 degrees. And even like, did you and Justin, we ran in the morning, right? Me, you and Justin?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That afternoon with Danny Delge, I think, was also hot. And there were a few there around that time that was hot.
Yeah.
With Mox too earlier. And so I'm doing it. So Mom and Dad and Uncle Mo and Aunt Sue left here on Saturday with the RV. And they're in Ottawa right now, I think. And they're just kind of traveling and checking out the scenery. And they're going to meet me in Montreal on Friday. And then we're starting on Saturday for the race. So it's coming up. It's coming up.
Wow. So they're already in Ottawa. I thought they did that quick.
Well, they did 3 8-hour days from what I gather, or 7 8 hours.
Oh, okay. They've been on the road for 3 days already.
They left Saturday or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They left nice and early. And they're enjoying the scenery, I guess.
So are there any legs that you can talk about where they're going to be maybe a little bit more unique, or any unique legs that you're looking forward to? Or
There's two that I'm really looking forward to right now. Three. Sorry, there's three that I'm. One is the leg with Cross Canada Jacks. I
wow,
really
yeah.
enjoyed. He's running with me on May 13th or 14th, May 13th, leg 19,
Wow.
the Grand Lake it's called. So it's on the shores of the largest, New Brunswick's largest lake. I don't really care about the scenery for that one. I'm looking forward to running with him. He's doing his book tour. His book tour starts today, actually, and we're kind of crossing each other right at Oromocto, and we're going to run together that day. I'm actually really looking forward to leg 25 with Louis Cormier, the guy we just interviewed, and yeah, an inspiring dude. And I look forward to pestering him for 2 hours or 2.5 or whatever the heck it takes. I really don't care. And then leg 26, I am running with my buddy, JP Turbid, my old roommate, my volleyball buddy. We had some very good times together in our lives. We lived together. We traveled together. We were on the Moncton. We were both riding the Pine on the Université de Moncton Aigle Bleu, and we traveled, and we were like the towel wavers on the bench. And like we would, yeah, when someone would make a big kill. And now we're going to run together 25 years later. We're going to run a half marathon. He was texting me his jogs today. He struggled through 18K last weekend. And I was like, dude, you did 18K.
Yeah, you're done.
Hay's in the barn, dude.
Yeah.
Hay is in the barn. So I'm really excited about those three. There is a leg, I believe it's 12. It is 370 meters of combined elevation gain in a half marathon. So that's like 4%, I think, incline or something like that, 3%. So that's going to be difficult, probably. No, it's Greer Creek. It's leg 11.
Wow, that will be tough. Yeah.
So I have no idea. I just remember the Boston Marathon hills. But yeah, like in my head, I'm thinking, meh, hills, I got this. But I'm thinking that's gonna hit me on the side of the head, like with a piece of wood. Like that's probably gonna be hard. The hills.
I think if you just manage your effort,
it'll just be a slower time, right?
Yeah, just go slower. Yeah.
It's like biking up hills. If you just same cadence, same power, you're just going slower.
So oh god, I've been thinking. I thought about biking uphill during the Boston Marathon that I ran 2 weeks ago. I don't know why I started thinking about biking.
Did you run the Boston Marathon 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. So while I was doing that, I was thinking about biking, and I wonder if there's ever been an analysis done on like relative to your threshold. So because if you bike harder, you don't have to bike nearly as long, and it's like it gets kind of almost exponential when the slope is big on like the amount of time you save by going harder.
Yep.
So I'm guessing there must be like a relative, depending on how long the race too, or how long you have to bike. Anyways, I think I'm gonna do some research on that. But
so okay, so you're basically saying, let's say it's a total output. You need 50,000 watts of output to get over a hill. You could either do 500.
Well, no, it's not. It's never going to be an exact number. It's because you probably need less output if you go faster, because you're going to have less overall resistance, I would imagine.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. But
I'm not sure. Anyways,
let's use a different term than effort. But the argument is, if I do it in a minute instead of a minute and a half, I get to rest not even rest. I save those 30 seconds of effort.
You save 30 seconds, but you can also start resting earlier, right? So
yeah.
So is it better to be like 90% of threshold for a minute, or 80% of threshold for 2 minutes? And which one's going to make you more tired, but then also factor in that you gained 30 seconds. I don't know. Anyways, it's not a simple, the effort level that I think there's probably research on this, but when I
There's
asked
got
my
to be.
coach, like he just told me go a little bit harder up the hill. But I feel like there's got to be better.
That's not a good enough
More,
answer for Charlie.
yeah, and there's got to be a better data analysis done for this. And I think it depends on so many things. It depends on the slope, depends on how long you have to go. Anyways, yeah, sorry. So back to Mehmet
No,
Cook.
I think that's like I like that this show can go wherever, and I like that's a great. One thing we've done, I think, on the show through the 50 so episodes is talked a lot about data, and you've analyzed a ton of data on here, and you figured out a lot of data. We figured out some cool stuff. So, anyways, I don't feel like you can't talk about data.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm excited about this thing. I think I'm just gonna I feel so confident. It's probably not a good thing, like how confident I feel in my ability. I was a little worried a month ago when I was ill, but I've largely stopped coughing unless I'm jogging really fast. So I'm not gonna jog fast. It's gonna be slow miles. I'm in decent shape. It should be fine. I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to it.
And we talked a little bit on our Run with Rob Run Club this Saturday about what your plan is for this week as far as a taper.
Yeah.
So have you decided what you're going to do, or?
So weird, because I talked to Joel about this, and I said, Joel, what do you think? And he said, I would just take the week off. That's kind of what he said. Kind of like you said, there's no benefit. So whether or not I should run this week, I'm starting on Saturday. I'm doing 42 kilometers per day for 13 days. Should I jog this week was the debate. And I asked you, Charlie, I said, should I jog? And you're like, I don't think there's any benefit. So I asked Joel, my personal trainer, I said, should I jog this week? And he says, when I do kind of 3 or 4 day ultras, or I don't know, 3-day ultras or whatever, 100, 200 milers or whatever, he tells his athletes not to run the week of.
Yeah, it makes sense. To me, that makes sense. Yeah.
No, this is different.
It's slightly different, yeah, but it's similar requirements, right? In that you're going to be expending a lot of energy over a lot of time, but you're not going to be expending it at a rate that is very fast while you're doing it. So it's like there's kind of no point to me in, like, normally for a marathon you're going to do a bit of running the week before because you want to kind of stay sharp, right? Do a few at race pace, but there's no point in doing it. You're not going to need to run fast at all, right? So yeah,
right.
To me that makes sense to not run at all, even though I hate not running.
Yeah. So you said that. Joel said that. Joel was kind of less. He was kind of more open to if you want it, if you need it for your mental health, if you want to just go.
Oh, I said that too. I said it's probably not going to help. It's probably not going to. I don't think it will help you, I said, but it might not hurt you.
Yeah. Guess what Patrick said? And Patrick said, I'd like you to run. He said, I'd like you to run, and I'd like you to run because you've not been on your feet that much these last 2 months. And I think it'll benefit you. I forget exactly what he said. I think a combination of mentally and physiologically to either prevent recovery or help with or prevent injury or whatever.
Yeah, I could see the prevention injury. Like, I always feel like I'm more likely to get injured if I don't run. So if I don't run at all. So that's probably a good point.
So I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, I'll put in 3 jogs this week. So he put in, or 4. Yesterday he put in half hour. Today he put in 45 minutes, I think. And today, and then I think 1 more, 3 jogs. So yesterday I skipped it. He's like, but like, don't do it if you're not feeling like you want it or need it. Yesterday I skipped it largely because I had personal training and I had hockey. So I was like, you know what? It's a lot of activity. I need to rest. And then today, because I slept so late because of hockey, like I had to be up early, and like, I don't know how closely you follow your dad on your Garmin and do you care and whatever, but
my resting heart rate's up by like 15.
Yeah, my HRV was through the roof. It was like training readiness, sleep score was brutal. It's like, you need a day off is what my watch told me. So I was like, okay, you win. I'll take it out. So I didn't jog today. I might go for a short jog tonight, but I haven't jogged yet today. And that means I have one jog left on Thursday. So it'll be a very light week. Very, very light week. So anyways, I'm pumped. We'll be chatting. One of the things I want to do is one of the things I regret not doing last year is like either video capsules or episodes, short episodes every day. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have. So I'm going to be doing that with Tyson or with you if it lines up. One of the days we could just do like a remote session, like 15 minutes. I'm thinking like short episodes, 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
How to go today? What's on your mind? What are
Yeah.
you worried about? How's your nutrition? Who'd you run with? It's more for me to keep it, and whatever, if people want to follow along, they can listen, like whatever, what's happening. So, if you're around, if you're able, we'll do it. If not, I plan on doing it with my dad, with TJ, with Diego, with whoever. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to come to all of you guys. I want to ask you about like all these people. Is this happening to you? You know what's happening to me, because I like on a Saturday, Sunday now, I feel like I need to put aside some time to just reply to people that are texting me their jogs. And like, because there's a lot of people doing long jogs and like wanting advice, and like Rem and Jeff Dean and the Run Club and the Granges. And there's just so many people that are running now that are like, do you have some of that?
No, I guess I don't have friends compared to you, I guess.
No, it's well, I think it's because I ran across the province last year and all these people ran with me, right?
Yeah.
But like, okay, well, let's then compare it to Strava.
Sorry, so who not really anyone. Like, we had dinner with a friend who just wanted to hear about my Boston Marathon experience.
Are you going to name drop or no?
No. So yeah, we had a dinner with a friend, and that's about it. It's not really anyone asking for advice. I give a lot of advice on the Run with Rob Run Club, maybe a little too much.
You're so good. You're so good, because I was looking at Grant's numbers, and I was like, Grant's doing a lot of miles in my head. And then I mentioned it to you, and you're like, yeah, he's doing a lot of miles. So then I was like, hey, Charlie, go talk to Grant about his mileage. And then I just see you talking, you need a down week here, Grant. You're kind of half coaching him about a down week. But like, we know that we don't know everything, obviously. We know there's a lot to learn, but we know how much we've learned since we started, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, so Boston was my 8th marathon. Like, you say Boston way too much. Boston was my 8th marathon, and I was telling Bryce that I knew at mile 8 that I wasn't going to hit my goal, and I was like, but I only missed it by 4 minutes. So like, it's a thing. We have experience, is what I'm saying. Like, that's something you can't do unless you've ran at least a few marathons, that experience of knowing what a marathon feels like, right? And even just training for it, like, we have experience is what we have. We don't necessarily know a lot, but we have a bit of experience.
Yeah. And I know, like, in Grant, by the way, he's unbelievable. He's killing it. I'm so proud of that guy. He's one of our Run Club buddies. He started running a couple of years ago, and he did a 35K, I think, or something. And he's going to do very, very well at the Manitoba Marathon. But I think he's just kind of winging it, right? Like, he doesn't. So he's doing a lot of miles, and he's doing them at a great pace. But there's a lot of that, right? There's a lot of like people everyone at Run Club. No one's got a coach, right? Like, we're the only. I mean, other people on Strava, like some of your friends on Strava, have coaches, right?
Okay, so before you had a coach, I'm interested here. Before you had a coach, how did you plan your runs or your workouts?
I think I would so what I did is I Googled, what's his name? I've talked about him before.
Hal Higdon, I think.
Hal Higdon.
Yeah.
So Hal Higdon, I looked at his map, and I would do that run. Now, I would do it as hard as I possibly could, every single jog. So I had 4 miles to do on
Doesn't
the
it say
morning.
easy? Doesn't it say easy jog on there? Easy.
Run? There's some that it says easy, but if it didn't say easy, I'll pull it up. But if it didn't say easy,
tempo,
I was going.
Okay.
No, but I think even in his early ones, there's no. I don't think there's. Like, I think
I remember planning my marathons before I had a coach, and like spending like 3 hours. Okay, this week I'd go down, and I'd like every week had like I would plan it out. I would take a lot of hours planning my lead up to a marathon.
So this is Hal Higdon here. This was kind of the plan I followed. This is the novice. So I don't know if I followed this one exactly, but I think it's this one. So it just says 3 miles, 5 miles, 3 miles rest. And then Saturday is your long run. Then you do a half marathon, 8 weeks out. Then you build up to 20. And then you rest, and then you do your marathon.
Yeah.
That's what something
Yeah,
like
it doesn't tell you the pay. It just says run.
Yeah. So this is what I did. And that's what I ran. And I had no idea about pacing. I had no, another guy Colby, one of my good buddies, hockey buddy, he's running on Saturday, the Toronto Marathon.
Colby is amazing.
And his brother Spencer, they're both really.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, he's gonna bomb. Yeah, they're gonna crush that. That's a cheater marathon as well, by the way. Didn't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I've not seen Spencer do a mile faster than it's like 6:45 in his.
Sorry, he doesn't do 7 minutes. He doesn't do 7. He doesn't have miles that start with 7. They all start with 6.
They all start with 6. Yeah, and I remember just thinking, like, holy smokes, and like that's unbelievable that he's able to. I mean, he's in his 20s, like we're in our 40s, but like he's a supreme athlete.
Remember, he was telling you his heart rate. It's like, yeah, I don't. Once it hits 190, I back off there.
Yeah, and I was like, 190? You're gonna die. Well, yeah, and then Colby, his brother, they're unbelievable athletes. And Colby had injuries, so he's just going out for his first ever marathon, and he's going to do well. But today he's jogging, and I saw it on Strava, and I was like, 8 kilometers or whatever at like 4-minute kilometers, and I was like, you're running Boston, you're running the marathon like in a few days. Like you shouldn't be max efforting at 10K like a few days before. Anyways,
it's probably not a max. It's probably not a max effort for him. I bet you that's the thing. But it's close.
Yeah, but that was like me. When you go jogging. You go as hard as you can, right? Because that's all I knew, right? And I'm not trying to bring those two guys down.
My first year was every jog was as hard as I could for that length.
Yeah,
it was like PR for that length, trying every time.
That's the point that I'm trying to make, and that I think you are trying to make when you said when you first started, what were you doing? Well, I was doing what everyone all these guys in Run Club, all of them.
Yeah,
that's what we would do. We'd go as hard as we could because we didn't know any better, and then figured out that, oh my God, like we need recovery, we need slower miles, we just need to build a base. So that's if I could get people to listen to one thing about marathon training, one thing would be more miles, less pace.
Absolutely.
I think that's the absolute trick to completing a marathon, because it's going to do a whole bunch of things. One, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that jog, a lot easier for you to recover. And maybe most importantly, if it's your first training, you're going to enjoy your jogs more. They're going to be less painful. And you're going to want to do another one. The worst thing, people quit all the time training programs because they're hard.
Yeah.
And people make them harder by running max effort 5 times a week. You can't do max effort 5 times a week. Well, you can, but
it's not going to last very long.
It's not going to last long. You're going to get injured. You're not recovering, and you don't need it. It doesn't help your body, right? It's like my cousin Fluff, Paul Grenier, who's these are all our running friends. Hopefully they're okay with us talking about them in the show. We're not trying to, like, we love them and we love that they're running. We're not trying to speak negatively about them. It's just they're keen into running. He's doing 2 half marathons with me. He's flying in and he's doing leg 1 and leg 3. So he's doing 2 half marathons. He's an athlete, obviously. Like those guys are all athlete that family, but he's not like been training for years and years. Like he basically started jogging a month ago and kind of is going to figure it out. But he ran a 21K on the weekend, like 6 days before he's running. And he's like, I just wanted to know if I could do it. And I was like, you ran a 2-hour half like a week before you're going to run 2 half marathons, and you're not, like, it's going to take a chunk out of them.
Yeah, that's another thing though. That's like a thing that comes with experience is knowing that what you can do in a race compared to what you can do like if you're training are 2 different things, right? So when you start out, I totally get it. Like you want to know you want to know that you're able to do the distance, right? I remember my first marathon, my long run 2 weeks out.
Yeah, you did a full marathon.
24 miles at my goal pace.
With a 1 mile warm up. 1 mile warm up, 1 mile cool.
No, I didn't have warm ups back then. It was just 24 miles at race pace.
2 weeks out.
Yeah, 2 weeks out. I gotta know if I can do it. Anyway, so I ran slower than that on the day of the marathon.
Of course you did, because your Charlie number was higher than it was before.
Yeah.
And the thing with Paul is I told him, oh, Paul, I wish you would have. Anyways, and he's like, well, no, like, and he's like, I wanted to know that I could do it mentally. So maybe there's an argument that exists for your first kind of that to give you the confidence to actually do it so that you can do it, right?
But really, like, if you're more experienced, what would be a better way to think about it is, if I can do like a third of it, I'm probably going to be able to do the entire thing at that on race day, because you get that mental boost.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, we're not trying to laugh at anyone, or it's no,
we're laughing at ourselves too. We're laughing at ourselves too.
I did that. Yeah. Like max effort all the time. And you're all like, you're like gonna have a heart attack on the treadmill. Like I remember like my run would finish. I was like 100 meters, and I'm like, and like fall off the treadmill, and you're like, you're just sitting there, and people are like, I remember at Spucktex, I used to go to Spucktex, and people would be, hey, are you okay? I was like, just did 5 miles.
Were you pointing at the number? Look, it says 8.0 here.
No, 5 miles. No, I was running like, this is back in the day when I was running like 5.5 miles an hour or whatever. Like, and I was like, I did it. And I was so proud. And these strangers like, okay, like, are you okay? Like, not necessary, right? But anyways, it's fun to go back and think. And what I'm getting at too is with all these people is that I enjoy, and I think you do too, being asked for advice. We're not experts, but just that we've done a lot of races. It's fun to tell people that. I like when someone asks me, hey, Rob, I'm 4 weeks out. What do you think I should do next 4 weeks? Okay, where are you at? What was your long run this weekend?
Yeah, no, that'd be my favorite question anybody could ever ask me.
Yeah, and I see like you're jogging with someone, and I hear you, so where are you at in your training? And you're just kind of running, and they go, oh, I'm 6 weeks out from my race. Oh yeah, what was your long run last weekend? And you're just like, you're kind of doing the interviewing.
Yeah,
it's cool. That's
fun.
It is fun.
Yeah, back to your New Brunswick run, and
and I have about 2 minutes.
I'm really proud of what you're doing, and I'm really excited for you. Kind of wish I would be able to go on a couple legs. It's not going to work out for me this time, but
okay, thank you.
Enjoy it, because I think that's your thing, right? So
there's my shirt. I will absolutely enjoy it. Thank you for saying that. And maybe next year I'm thinking BC maybe, or Canada, but we'll do it together next year.
Or Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Canada. I got to line that up a little bit better, but thank you for saying that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I got to run and go get my kids at school. It's been, I'm like Boston. I'm beyond. So Boston, I wasn't that excited the week of because I knew I wouldn't do well. But the last time I felt this excited was for sure a year ago, Run with Rob. I can't do anything right now. I can't function. I can't do my assignments for my PhD. I've asked for an extension beyond, like, I'm just not functioning right now. All I care about is this thing, and I'm pumped. And I'm going to bring it to you guys here on the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check us out wherever your podcasts are. If you listen to this podcast, give us a review on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Write it up. Give us 5 stars and tell us what you think of this podcast. That would mean a lot to us, because then it gets picked up and people can watch it and listen to it. Thank you so much, Charlie. It's been a slice. We'll be in touch, and good luck with your coming up races.
Yep, you too.
All right, guys. See you in the next podcast episode. Let's go. Run with Rob.